Hey everybody. Well, I just started a video in this area and I decided I'm not going to cut here now. And I will show you why. So this is kind of a point that overlooks some water out that direction. So I was thinking I'll do a little bit of cutting here. Maybe make some buck bedrooms. But one, I think the bucks already hang out here. And two, this is why I'm not cutting. Look at the understory. It is pure buckthorn. So if I cut this buckthorn that's being suppressed right now by the shade is going to blow up. And I don't want that. I don't got time to take care of it right now. Eventually I'll start really targeting, but buckthorn is an invasive and I do not want to give it what it needs right now, which is sunlight. I would love to cut here. It's a perfect little point, but with all this buckthorn right here, and I'm not even sure I'm looking up right now, I'm not seeing any buckthorn trees. So actually right over here, there's the seed trees, a couple of good ones right here. So these are things I'm gonna have to come back in and maybe in the winter start taking care of. Yeah, you can see, look at that, that's all buckthorn right here. It's an area of the property I haven't really stepped foot in, and see, it's been a little bit neglected because there's a lot of glossy buckthorn. So instead of doing a cut here, I'm going to go do some forest stand improvement in the main part of the woods where there was logging done. So I will check back in and show you what that's all about. But this is just to show that sometimes we're not able to cut where we want to cut, because by cutting I would probably actually make this area worse because the buckthorn would just jump. Alright, so I think I'm going to do a bunch of random miscellaneous things today in the woods, since my little hinge cut point idea fell through. So when I say forest stand improvement, that's a Dr. Craig Harper term. And really what I believe he means by that is, when you think somebody says they're doing TSI in the woods, that's more focused on timber and the quality of the timber. Whereas forest stand improvement is more focused on the wildlife. So what I just did was cut down trees to help the wildlife. What I mean by that is I released, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bur oak trees, so white oak species. I released the trees because I want mass production for wildlife. And when I was looking at the trees, I wasn't looking whether it was a nice straight tree, you know, because if you got a nice straight tree, that's good for timber production and good for logging. I was just looking if it was a bur oak. If it was a bur oak, I cut it. If I have two bur oaks that are growing real tight next to each other, unless they're big mature trees, I'll release one of them and cut the more insubordinate oak for the healthier one. But in this case, I had a bunch of lone oak trees and I released them all. You can see there's one right over there, there, and then these three, boom, boom, boom. And what I did was, if there was another tree basically touching any part of the bur oak, I cut it down. Pretty much mostly ironwoods. And there's more ironwoods all the way up through here. I'm sure eventually they'll all get the wrath of my chainsaw, but today I'm just focused on releasing oak trees. And actually I started cutting in a little travel corridor too, right along the edge of the pond down here, which I will show you in a little bit when I'm done with that. But I kind of got distracted by releasing these oak trees. So yeah, we'll see what else I get done today, but I'll check back in for sure. Alright, still freeing up a few more oaks. I know I said they were bur oaks, but I think they actually might be true white oaks. We don't have a lot of those on our property. I know the loggers said they found a few, but it's mostly bur oak. But just kind of looking at that bark, I think they might be true white oaks. So if a forester watches this, you can let me know. if that's right or not. So here's this, I was just going to show a situation where I am actually going to cut an oak tree. So I got 3 of them bunched up together right here. What I'm going to do is cut this one right here because the trunk is bent way over cutting that way. This one and this one are nice straight trees. They look healthier. They got green limbs further down, whereas this one's all bent over. So by cutting that one, I'm giving these 2 a chance to produce acorns, because when you remove that crown competition, you can up that acorn production by over 50%, according to the study by Dr. Craig Harper. So we want acorns, so this middle one is going to go. And we'll release these 2, and then we got a big one right there that's going to fill out. And maybe over time I might have to release this one too, because it could end up competing with that big oak tree. So just showing a circumstance where I am going to cut one oak tree. Alright, so here is a little travel corridor I cut in. So this thick area back in here is where I shot the video right away. Actually, it was quite a ways that way. I walked through the rest of it after I did my video, and that little point was the only spot there was buckthorn, but I still think I'm going to leave it because there's just good natural bedding in there, and it's already pretty thick. There's some good species. I saw some choke cherry in there, a little bit of other shrubby cover. So I'm just leaving that, but I did cut a little travel corridor coming out of this area. So here's my travel corridor, and I set this up because I wanted to guide the deer right by my bow stand. So one, I know the deer are going to want to travel this anyway because this is all water down here all the way up basically to the bow stand. So it's already a natural edge, and deer love edges and traveling those edges. So I just made it a little bit easy for them to guide and direct them right to where I want them to go. So when guys cut in these travel corridors, you know, I see sometimes guys will hinge trees kind of off to the side, leaving plenty of escapes for deer to jump out. For me, you'd have to get pretty aggressive doing that, because if you just kind of hinge a tree here and there, they're going to end up dying because you're going to be hinging them into the shade. You have to cut quite a bit if you want those hinges to stay alive. So I might do that if I'm already in a little bit more of an open area where I think the hinges will stay alive. But for the most part, oh no, that's a maple. I was just thinking I found an oak that I didn't release, but yeah, you can tell by the bark and the leaves up there, it's a maple. So anyway, for the most part, I just cut the trees off and kind of just give them a path of least resistance. I wouldn't have been able to really hinge in here anyway because it's all ironwoods. Ironwoods don't hinge that great. So, but I just gave them a little route here to head towards my deer stand. And actually, so this whole woods was logged, and there is tons of cover. So I know the deer are going to be in here anyway, so I don't need to be cutting in a ton of bedding right now, because just walking through it, there is a lot of bedding. So right now I'm just kind of trying to point things in the right direction and release the oak trees. So here you can see the water down there. So here's my natural edge. And I just have everything pointed right out towards the deer stand. So the deer would likely come this way. Odds are, I'm thinking they're going to kick out right over here. They could cut down there, which would be fine. Either one would work. And what will happen is that they will come in to the opening right here. If they want to keep traveling down this logging trail, they can. But somebody will likely, or hopefully, be sitting right there. That's where the deer stand is. This right here is probably, trying to guess how far, maybe a 50 yard shot here. But when the deer come out right here, they most often head this direction because there's actually water here, and there's water there. So here is the pinch, and we got the deer stand right there to intercept them. So, and I further incentivize the deer to want to head that direction because I seeded this down with clover. We haven't had any rain since I seeded it, but there was obviously enough moisture on the dirt to get it to start germinating. Hopefully we get rain soon. This should be a green carpet within a month, but that green carpet will go all the way out to the deer stand. So just trying to point everything that direction to set up for the kill shot. All right, time to go release a few more oak trees. All right, I'm cutting away and I found this natural deer bed. Just wanted to show it quick. I was gonna cut that ironwood right there, but I'm gonna leave it because there's a bed right here. Look at that, beautiful overhead canopy, a couple of good escapes. Looking out that way, well, I kind of made a mess of that. I'll have to clean that up. Then looking this way. But yeah, I found my last cut, I found a couple beds like this too. Pretty much the same exact setup, so just shows what deer like. It's a pretty big bed too. That might be a buck bed. There's no other beds around here, so. All right, keep at it. All right, I think this will be the last check-in I do in this video. I do still have about an hour left to cut, but I'll just show you what the final game plan is here. So I'm up on, well, not quite to the top of the ridge, but up on a ridge. So this is kind of the main area they logged in here. And you can see it's open. So I am releasing my oaks. There's quite a few here actually. You can see they're there. And I took a lot of oaks out too. But I am going to release the oaks. Because like I said, I want good wildlife trees, and they're mass producing trees, so I'm going to release them. But that's not to say that acorns are the most important part of this whole ordeal. The most important part is this. That's that wide open sky there. Because what's going to happen in the years ahead is this ridgetop is going to get thick. And this is where the primary bedding is going to be. So what I'm doing is, there was a few trees that were left standing, like that ironwood right there. Actually mostly ironwood. And I'm knocking them down, as well as releasing my oaks that are left. There's some oaks out that way. By doing that, I'm getting it to be absolutely full sun. And the regeneration is going to come fast next year. I mean, I expect deer. Deer are going to be already bedding up here because there's so many treetops. It is crazy how much natural bedding too there is around the perimeter of where they cut. I have been finding beds all day, just like the last one I showed you in this video. But this is going to be where the bedding's is at in the future. So I did hinge this elm. Had a good lean to it. Looked like a good spot for bedding right there. But as you can see, it is open in here, and that's what we want. There's where I did a video on previously where I have the aspen coming back. That was all aspen around the edge. That's going to come back thick next year. It's going to come back fast. That's where we'll get the most regrowth next year. But this ridgetop will start to thicken up already by next year. So yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what the future holds for this area. I mean, it's tough to see some of those real nice oak trees go, but every oak or every tree reaches a point where it's harvested or they start to get rotten in the middle. You can see these were nice trees, so they were worth some money. So it was good to get them out now and get what we want the most, which is that woody regeneration. And we still have plenty of oaks in here. That'll be future seed trees for this area, because who knows what the next generation wants. And that's part of releasing the elks too. They might not be the most important tree to us, but who knows what the generations ahead will want as far as what their goals are for the land. So it's better to leave some of those great wildlife slash timber trees than to just start cutting them all down as far as logging them all out. So all right, well, I'm gonna go get some water, get some gas, and I think we'll do one more tank today and call it good. Y'all take care. God bless.